Indeed, you set off on a simple journey, not a difficult route, and suddenly find yourself involved in a series of philosophical thoughts and existential moods.
And Air France flight 3765 to Paris. Check-in counters number 39 and 40 is closing now. Checked-in passengers are welcome at departure hall sector.
There are places that I would not like to attend, stand in their tourist attraction, but for some circumstances. That is why the road to Paris that I had chosen was the fastest and the most direct one. This warm October day, I was walking along the streets of Paris, past one of the main attractions of the city, the Eiffel Tower. One has to admit that it leaves a huge impression. The symbol of Paris seemed to be seen everywhere. Surely any description relating to Paris are doomed to sound trite. That is why no more words about that city. Is it okay? Finally, I am here for another reason. My visit to Paris is connected with an outstanding director, Andrei Tarkovsky. And so it is the first meeting that has been planned here. In my hands I hold a rare edition. This is Martyrologue, a diary of Andrei Tarkovsky. I would better hurry to my hotel room to read this book away from the hustle and bustle and get prepared for one more meeting. It will take place tomorrow. In the meantime, there is still time. There is still time to tell about the reason why I happened to be there. It was in spring. Not so long ago, a new motorcycle season started, and in anticipation of the upcoming big weekend, I went on a motorcycle to Sweden, to the island Gotland. For me, this was just a simple journey to picturesque island. Yes, I knew that somewhere there Tarkovsky had shot his picture that later became the last one. I'm arriving on a ferry from the Swedish town Nynäshamn in the capital of Gotland, Visby. Today, Visby is an open-air architectural monument. The narrow streets, ancient cobblestone pavements, comfortable cafes. Visby is considered to have been preserved best of all in comparison to other Scandinavian medieval cities. Architecture is not my sphere. It is growing dark, and it's time to look for a place to have a night's sleep, to move to a northern part of the island the other day. There are practically no so-called villages on the island. The people here live in the isolated houses. There are a lot of laconic buildings, that are located in comfortable places. The nature and landscape reminded me of those of Estonia, where I had been. On one's way, one can meet ancient churches which are present in large quantity. For example, this church was built in the 13th century. It is one of the best preserved Roman churches on Gotland. I continue my way to the northern part of Gotland. I wish to cast a glance at Raukar. Such fanciful stone formations. To do this, one has to go by ferry boat to the small island of Forö and move further to the north. On the way, the landscape changes. The trees are being replaced by the bushes, and soon there is a vast open space in front of me. The evening was approaching. The temperature was about 6-7 centigrades. Obviously, that was the reason why nobody was present there. Raukar is called the visiting card of Gotland. To observe the creation of nature, a large number of tourists come here during the high season. And now, as one may say, I was lucky to be alone in this picturesque place. So, it is not a solitude, not being detached. It is more similar to involvement, the feeling of presence. All the tourist guidebooks of Gotland will necessarily mention the Ingmar Bergman Center. The famous Swedish director spent many years on Forö and was buried there. The cinema lovers should definitely drop in on the Bergman Center. By the way, Ingmar considered Andrei Tarkovsky the best director. He, in his turn, also admired the works of Bergman. It is not surprising, as both of them are remarkable personalities in the cinematography. In search of the shooting location of the movie Sacrifices, I'm heading toward the southeastern part of Gotland, to the peninsula Narsholmen. are some kilometers left on the back road, and a familiar scene, recognizable from the movies, starts opening in front of me. But first I decided to go to the lighthouse that was seen on the horizon. This lighthouse appears to have been built in 1872. Silence and appeasement. Yes, for those who come here for a while and run away forever from the yoke of the civilization, here on the island they have a happy sensation of a different time flow. So, I'm going to look for the location for shooting. Deep in my soul I have a feeling of thrill and excitement. Will I be able to find one? 34 years have passed since the moment of shooting. Here it is, this road near the sea. This is the place where at the beginning of the film the lead character, Alexander, is planting a tree together with his son and is telling the Christian parable about obedience. The Christian ideas, existential human experiences have always been an overarching theme of Tarkovsky's films. From here, it is possible to see one more shooting location. It is necessary to go there. Somewhere here there is situated the main hero's house, which he sets on fire to sacrifice it in the name. To sum up, the plot is strange enough. The script was written by Andrei Tarkovsky himself. Still, the genius of Tarkovsky lies in directing. It is based on his artistic style, through which he creates a special atmosphere. Have you ever noticed the way many films are viewed with the greatest interest? They may attract you by their plot, but cannot stand the test of time. You are not going to watch them for many times. The plot is familiar, the suspense is discovered. But Tarkovsky's films are completely different. Reviewing his pictures at a different age and in a different state of the soul, one can reveal for oneself new dimensions, new shades of the familiar piece. I'm thinking of wandering here a little bit. These places bring to memory the scenes from the film Sacrifice, the dialogues of heroes. For example, while sitting somewhere in this forest and thinking about modern civilization, Alexander is getting aware of the thought that he himself is engaged only in chat talking. Oh yeah, this is relevant for the modern times, and even to a greater extent than it used to be earlier. was listening to myself and was fully aware that this landscape, this space that Tarkovsky's captured on his film, were becoming the main topic of my trip to Gotland. But you come here like this and suddenly you are deeply influenced by the depth of the work. Immerse yourself in thoughts. I need to have a cup of tea before returning home. It is definite that I'm going to continue this trip. I need to visit Tarkovsky's homeland. I will go there in autumn. I'm reading the following entry in Tarkovsky's diary. Today is the first day of shooting here on Gotland. Instead of the too challenging planet previously shots, which shot too simple. And he writes more about peculiarities of working with the Swedish film crew. I'm surprised by the date of this entry, the 6th of May, such a startling coincidence. I appear to have come on Peninsula of Narsholmen exactly on that day. So, I moved to the homeland of Andrei Tarkovsky in September. Tarkovsky was born in the village of Zavrazhye of the Kostroma region in Russia. A narrow and unmarked road leads to the temple where little Andrew was baptized. Caressed by the morning sun, I can see the picturesque view of the river Volga. In the middle of the 50s, that was created Gorkovsky water storage reservoir, which later water flooded more than 150 villages. Tarkovsky's house did not escape the same fate. "My homeland is underwater," he used to say. In essence, the only place that remembers him is the temple. Andrei Tarkovsky is going to live for 54 years and will die far away from these places in France. It is quite interesting to find out the attitude to death of this subtle and deep director. There is no death, I think it does not exist. Tarkovsky used to say, "Once I had a dream that I died. It was a feeling of lightness and freedom." Though later he corrected himself. "Maybe when I'm going to face this directly, I will feel afraid and will consider it in a different way." So it will happen that way. When he faced a severe disease, the confidence in God's protection was replaced by the feeling of anxiety and fear of death, as everybody feels when the inevitable is approaching. Not far away from this church, there is Tarkovsky's house museum. It is a modern replica. Several locks have remained intact from his house. I came here on the weekend and the museum was closed. Honestly speaking, it did not make me sad and bitter, because by that time I had learned a lot about his life. It was more important for me to visit the places, to see the atmosphere where he had spent his childhood. The entry in Tarkovsky's diary, December 1985. A man lives and knows that he will die sooner or later, but he doesn't know when. And that is why he postpones this moment for an indefinite time. It helps him to live. And now I know, and nothing will help me live. And this is very difficult. It was after dark. I am reading the last pages, the last entries of Tarkovsky. This is important before tomorrow's journey. In the morning, I am going to Saint-Geneviève-de-Bois, to the tomb of Andrei Tarkovsky.